How to find wholesale-friendly title companies. Guys, at some point, when you start your wholesaling journey, you have to find a title company that will help get your wholesale deals across the finish line. And I always say this task you should do before you get your first wholesale deal. Why? Because believe it or not, if you pick the wrong wholesale company, your deal can not only fall apart, it can be ripped apart. It will shake your confidence. And I always recommend you vetting your title companies before you even do your first wholesale deal. Why? Why put in all that effort and get a phenomenal wholesale deal, find a cash buyer, do an assignment of contract, only to find a title company is not going to support you and they're actually going to mess your deal up. Now, that happened to me on one of my second or third deals I did when I started wholesaling, and I learned a valuable lesson. So if you want more information, go over to freewholesaling.com. We show you how to do it. But today, I want to focus on how do we actually find these companies. And what I want to do is, first of all, understand the purpose of the title company. It is to facilitate the closing of a real estate transaction, specifically a wholesale deal via assignment of contract, double close, simultaneous close, whatever it is. They've got to be able to work with investors. Here's the real challenge. 95% of title companies or attorneys only work with realtors. So you got to understand, if I found even 10 title companies, only one or two of them are even going to be a good fit for my wholesale business. And you need to know that going into it, because a lot of you just assume any title company will handle your wholesale transactions. It's not the truth. The reality is they like working with realtors because it's a set way they do it. Us wholesalers, let's face it, we bring tons of problems to the table. We bring clouded titles. We bring properties in foreclosure. We have tax delinquencies, past years worth of taxes due. We have code violations. We have people that do stuff to their deeds like quitclaim deeds. And honestly, a lot of times it is a big mess. But remember, the bigger the mess you solve, the more money you make in wholesaling. So make sure you align yourself with the right title company. Remember, the purpose of the title company is to verify you have a buyer and a seller, to underwrite the deal, to issue a title commitment to make sure the title is clear and free. Your cash buyers are going to need that. They prepare all the documents. They get all the lien reports, make sure the mortgage is paid off, and then they notarize all the paperwork. They disperse funds, and they record the transaction. You have to have a title company. There's no other way to get this deal done in wholesaling. In fact, your cash buyers, they will not move forward with your assignment of contracts unless they know they're getting clear title. So it's unavoidable. So I told you we're going to teach you how to find them. So the first thing we have to understand is where not to look for a title company as a wholesaler. You see, a lot of you are going to go ask questions and you're looking in the wrong places. Number one, okay, if you ask your parents or you ask a typical home buyer, what title company did you use? Wrong question. That you do not want a recommendation from these types of people. Buyers and sellers that do traditional real estate, honestly, they don't work with the type of title companies that you need to go out and seek as a wholesaler. What are we going to add to that? Attorneys, the same type of deal. No, because we need to find someone that can proactively help us solve problems, big and small, to get us to the finish line. And the last one, which you guys know exactly where I'm going, please don't take a referral from a realtor. Remember, they work with title companies that appease them. In fact, a realtor can go to any title company and it's safe to say they can get any transaction closed. Now, if a wholesaler does the same thing, 95% of them are probably going to kick them to the curb. I would say maybe 2 out of 10 will even hear you out. It's just the God honest truth. And if you know that going into it, you won't get frustrated and you won't get stuck with a title company that is not out for the wholesaler's interest. The reality, if you're doing wholesaling right, the way me and Dak teach you through freewholesaling.com, your goal is to solve your seller's problem and create a win-win for both sides. That is the goal. The problem with the title companies, it's not that they hate investors or wholesalers. is just they build their business around realtors, on financing, on basically preparing mortgages, getting them recorded, and we don't do any of that. Instead, we bring more of the title problems, the lien problems, and stuff like that. And so the honest to God truth is most title companies aren't built for the investor slash wholesaler, and that's why you'll find only a few that will cater to them. So before I share with you the exact steps to do it, there's 3 basic things you want to ask from a title company. Number 1, do you work with investors, or you can use the word wholesalers? I use the investor because it's a broad term, and sometimes the word wholesaler just has a negative connotation. Not from me, not from Zach. That's just exactly what has happened in the business. So, hey, do you work with investors? Let them expand on that. Number 2, if they say, no, I don't work with investors, move on, you're done. Number 2, do you facilitate an assignment of contract and or a double close? Now, I like to just do the assignment of contract because if they go, what's that? Or I don't want to do with that, I just move on. And number 3, can I get a list of all your fees? Those are the only 3 qualifying questions. So now that we got that out of the way, how do we go find these title companies? It's actually very, very simple. Most of you are massively overthinking this. I want to break it down. The simplest way is just start with social media. Let the power of social media draw the people to you. So by now, if you're watching this video, you're probably assimilated with a lot of investor groups. Go in these investor groups. I like Facebook. It's kind of old school. And so say I'm doing this in Detroit. I'm going to look for Detroit investors, Detroit wholesalers, Detroit rehabbers, whatever you want it to be, a Detroit real estate investor network. And I'm going to go in there. And I'm going to join that group, follow the rules, and then I'm going to look for a title company that other investors, specifically wholesalers, are recommending on working with that title company, someone they've had direct success to it. Now, don't be scared to reach out to that title company and say, hey, do you work with this investor or this person so-and-so, or vice versa. Go to that investor and go, I want to make sure you work with ABC Title Company. I want to make sure they're a good fit. Do they do an assignment of contract? Anytime you have a pre-vetted title company, it just makes your job easier. And if you understand that, it saves you a lot of aggravation. So use social media, specifically Facebook groups. And then if you want, you can do key search words in there, investor-friendly title companies, title companies and wholesalers, anything like that. Because what you'll find is, instead of you calling 20 or 30 title companies, you can usually find one that works within there. And if they're already having success with other wholesalers, why would you be any different? Do not reinvent the wheel. You can do this on Instagram. You can do this on Facebook. It never stops. If you really want to get deep on it, go to zachdiscord.com and do your research on title companies. Now understand this, title companies are specific to each state. That's right. If you cross state lines, you got to use another title company. So if you use something like Zach Discord, you can find title companies. Like if I'm in the state of Texas, if I'm in the state of Florida, if I'm in the state of Georgia, you have to have a different title company. Yes, there are some national title companies, but finding one that's investor friendly, that's going to be a challenge for you, and you have to be aware of that. So if we know that going into that, the next best place, in my opinion, is just going on the internet and doing a search. Simple. And guys, get 10 or 15 title companies and just call them. And go back to the beginning of this video, the 3 questions we asked. Do you work with investors? Do you facilitate assignment of contract? Can I get a list of your fees? It's that simple. Those are my qualifying questions. You don't have to really overthink about this. You can do that on a general internet search. Maybe you can use some AI, some ChatGPT, Gemini, DeepSeek, all that other fun stuff. Maybe it will compile a list for you nationally. That would be cool. Me and Zach are working on that right now. And you got to keep in mind, one of the next best ways is simply go to a meetup group. Meetup groups are great because you can interact with wholesalers, some that just got started, some that have been doing it for years, some people like me doing it 23 years, and you can pick their brain. Remember, always try to provide value first. See how you can help that investor before you seek value from them. That is the key to getting the people to work with you and connect with you. If you just take, you're going to have a tough time getting information from people because it's not a win-win situation. Now, my favorite one to go out is Going to meetups are great, and if they pop up in your city, take full advantage of them, especially wholesaler groups. But you can go to what we call a RIA, and that is an acronym REIA, Real Estate Investors Association, and you can go to these groups, and it is a complete hodgepodge of rehabbers, hard money people, realtors show up to this, note buyers, cash buyers. I told fix and flips, rehabbers, landlords show up there, lease option people, creative financing, and of course, wholesalers. Now understand, the entire group is not made of wholesalers. And if you know that going into it, just beware. But see what kind of recommendations they have for a title company that they've had success doing assignment of contract, or even a double close, or ways they've helped you out. Guys, the title company is key. And often when you go to these types of meetings, there'll be a title company sponsorship in the back. Those are some of the best people to talk to because they're targeting investors. So why would they not be a good fit? Make sure you vet them, find some people they do business with. And guys, the sky is the limit. But the final and best way to really find the best title company that is what I call investor friendly or wholesale friendly. And by the way, that is a term we use inside. Please don't reach out to a title company and say, are you investor friendly? It sounds weird. Remember, we need the title companies to do their job so we can get our job done. And we both have commonality of getting the deal closed to help the seller out to create a win-win situation. Now, the best way to do this, guys, is simply reach out to fellow investors, just like I told you at the RIA meeting. If you can get somebody in your town or your virtual market and they will recommend a title company, honestly, that's usually going to be the best route. Now, what I would do is I would interview that title company. You can either do it over the phone or you can do it in person. If you can do it in person, it's really valuable. And just tell them, show me the process of how the closing works with an assignment of contract. What do you require from me? What do you require from my seller? What do you require from my cash buyer? And if you can find someone who's had success, someone that does a lot of transactions like me, then you know that title company is the perfect fit. Because if that other wholesaler's having success, why would it be any different for you? Guys, you have to do this in advance. It is extremely imperative you do this before you get your first deal, because I don't want to surprise you. I don't want you to take all that hard work you did and have a title company ruin it for you. It would break my heart to see that. So guys, you need to go out and find these type of title companies. Just use the tips I've shared in this video. If you want more details, go over to freewholesaling.com. And guys, don't be scared to ask the title company questions. I like to work with smaller title companies that are owned by individuals, corporate-owned title companies, and some attorneys that are owned by corporate businesses. They tend to fit towards realtors more than investors because they have to play the numbers. Know that going in advance. If you want to know if you're working with the right title company, make sure you have one contact person and you have their cell phone number, and you should not be fearful to call them on the weekends, especially if you're working on a wholesale deal, and get their input on a title issue. Remember, they are an integral part of your title search, and meaning they are part of your wholesale team. So my title company, honestly, in so many ways, they are my business partner. They are instrumental, especially in the beginning when you get all these questions about title and about deeds and about mortgage payoffs. I want to get on the phone and call my title company. And I'm going to use that as an extension of my wholesale team to give me more confidence so I can solve more problems for sellers so I can do more wholesale deals. So guys, don't overcomplicate it. I probably did not reinvent the wheel on this. I've been doing this 23 years and I'm telling you, just go out and seek people that have had success with other title companies that work with wholesalers. Make sure you don't assume anything and then add them as part of your team, and make sure you do this before you do your first real estate deal. Guys, let me know in the comments, are you guys having success finding investor-friendly title companies, and which methods are you using to find the best ones? Let's share it, guys. There's nothing better than a referral, because it's the best way to find great business partners, especially on the attorney and title side. And don't forget that. That is the best way, but I've given you several options to work through it. I gave you the questions to ask for them, and you guys understand the purpose of the title company. And honestly, you cannot have a successful wholesale business without a great title company and or attorney. Make sure you use them, guys. This is Rick Ginn. I'll see you in the next video.